Hello there. Welcome everyone to the first ever Brighter Monday webinar. I'm excited about this. So impressed with the technology. So we're looking today to discuss on the field of how to find your next hire within 4 days. It's a quite interesting field because you may ask yourself, how viable is that? How reasonable is it to get good talent within 4 days? Especially if you're an HR. And you know, sometimes hiring is that moment that you really don't want to think about because you're very specific with what you're looking for, and it hardly comes as fast as you're looking for it. So we're here to demystify that and discuss a few areas that you can look at from our side and from your side on what you need to do as you prepare yourself to ensure that you can actually get the hire within 4 days. Cool. So just to give you a taste, of course, so that you can follow through to the end, I have a nice offer for you through one of the tools that we launched as Brighter Monday. It's an application tracking system, which is really amazing, that can help you go through your hiring process in the shortest time possible. So I'm looking forward to get your details. You can use the question section just down there. Have a look at that. Feel free to submit your details, ask any questions, and we can engage at the end of this, where I can give you an offer. So please look at the question section, you can drop them in, and I'll be free to address them towards the end of this presentation. Cool. So let's go to the agenda. So you saw as we joined the webinar, we had the 4 section areas that we want to cover within this first 30 minutes. And those are the areas that I'm going to go into detail about, starting with the right questions to ask yourself before you even need to recruit. So recruitment sometimes is not a must. You really have to check within the organization to see that if you have optimal staff to take care of the responsibilities or the gaps that you're finding within the organization. As HRs, I'm sure that you normally conduct performance reviews or appraisals, or whatever you call it. And through these reviews, there's a key section where you ask your staff, which areas are you don't feel fully utilized. And this is an area that you can sense check and determine if there are key competencies within the organization that you can utilize. So it's good to look, first of all, even before you think about hiring, if you have optimal staff who can make it work. If that option is yes, then of course you can explore those options if you have the right competence. The next stage, of course, is to look at the gaps within the organization. The gaps these are the key requirements that are needed within the organization. Try to look at some of the technical skills which are missing, and these are areas that need to be really addressed. Sorry, I went really into detail about that, but the other section is how to prepare yourself for the hire. And the third one is which resources you need to use. The last one is how you attract the right talent. These are about branding. So, as I shared earlier, so the gap and the key responsibilities are key needs that a human resource manager needs to look at. When you look at the 5 key responsibilities, it has to be that basic, because we don't want a list of long description that you're looking at. Maybe you can copy that from a newspaper or from a job board. No, that's not the way you should do it. You should really audit yourself as an organization, come up with 5 key skills that you feel that you need within the organization to bridge the gap between the skill gap. And as a human resource expert, of course, you can break this down in 3 ways and consider the fit of the candidate that you're looking for. So let me start with technical abilities. I'm sure you're all aware about this, but these are skills that you look out for. These are skills which are very specific to the abilities of the person. These are skills which are instilled into an individual when they go to school. That's what you get when you go to school. These are skills you get like software development. This is not a skill you can just do unless you're a kid, but that's being very specific that you need a developer who is versed with Python or Java or any other language. These are the requirements that you really have to look at, as you're looking for this individual, or a graphic designer. You know, a graphic designer can do Photoshop or you can use Illustrator. You have to be very specific with the technical skills. The next one is the qualifications and the soft skills. So these are experiences and general skills that the individual has. So we find most of the people who are advertising on our platform looking for management jobs, they really want to have leaders who are good in communication, who can manage teams and such things, or a leader who has been in a certain environment for 4 years, 5 years, 10 years time. So these are the qualifications that you have to look at. The other part is the personal characteristics of the person. You really have to consider your organization, the type of setup, the culture within the organization, so that you can find an individual who fits this. Remember, we're doing all this to ensure that you get the requirement right, which will enable us to give you the right candidate within 4 days. So these is the areas that you really need to put a lot of emphasis on because you understand your organization more than anyone. Cool. So a continuation of that, after you have all the requirements in play, craft a JD, craft an advert that markets the company and attracts the right candidates, because it goes 2 ways. You have a need, you are looking for talent within your organization, and you're looking out to people who can come and complement the gaps that you have within the organization. So it goes 2 ways. The candidates sell themselves, and you also have to sell yourself to the candidates. So crafting the ad is a really important aspect that I find some of the HRs are really not keen on because they know what they're looking for. But this is why we advise them not really to use the intern to write down the advertisement and send it to the job board or to the newspaper or all these other channels that we're going to discuss in a short while. So the next thing, of course, is to define your advertising budget. This is very important. I know finance people will be smiling. You need a return on investment on the channel that you're going to use to reach out to the candidates within the marketplace. And of course, the budget has to be analyzed in a way of what is available, and again, how you can use that in a cost-effective way. So there are various options that I've shared here, which are really common, starting with online job sites like what we have as Brighter Monday. So using a job board to actually reach out to individual job boards are really amazing because job boards have a big reach of people who are looking, or professionals who are looking for opportunities, either passive or active professionals. So job boards, I think for me, it comes top of mind. The other one is what we used to, newspapers. I know that those who are fans of newspapers. Newspaper, again, it has its advantages. Maybe you want to build a brand and look like you're serious, you're advertising on the newspaper, and there are some people who are, prefer to use the newspaper. The disadvantage I think about newspapers is that it's not targeted because people buy newspapers either to read news, political news, some will read lifestyle news, and the list is endless. So it's not really a targeted audience. But again, it's our purpose is to the people who have gazetted to use the newspaper, so that's an option that is commonly used. The other part is social media. With increase of usage of social media, Kenya, we have 5 million people who use Facebook. Social media here you can explore in various areas. There's Facebook, Twitter, social networking sites like LinkedIn. All these are areas where professionals hang out, and you really want to be in a place where you're visible. So that's one of the options that people use, depending on the role again, the level, so you can make that distinction and identify what kind of works for you. The other, which is traditional, but we're all advised by Charles to use, is referrals and networks. With referrals, you never go wrong because you have a chance to showcase yourself either in a relaxed environment, talk to different professionals, and you can, doing presentations and people can highlight some key skills that you have, and through networks, it really establishes, the right one to use, right? So let's go to the part, which is how to prepare yourself to hire the best candidate in a minimum amount of time. Remember, we're talking about getting you the right candidate within 4 working days. And the first thing is conducting a needs analysis. So this is where the HR now draws again this, the specification, highlighting the qualification and the work experience. So we dive into that, and I think that's pretty clear. The next one is assigning resources. So think about recruitment as a project, where sometimes you need a project manager. So within a project, there are timelines, there are budgets, there are resources that you need to allocate, like manpower. So this is the time that you allocate the project leader, like a human resource manager or a human resource officer. So task someone with a project so that when you get the candidates, or when you get a list of potential candidates that you would like to utilize, that you're not waiting on someone is traveling. That's what we hear sometimes. The decision maker is not around. We can actually plan well and do the hires when everyone is available. So when you think about it as a project, it really saves you time to actually finalize the process with the limited time that we want to achieve here. So again, you have to do market research. Market research helps you identify what level, how hard is it to get certain candidates, depending on the level, salary, how competitive is the job role, and such things. So you need to do your research again and see the competition, how much do they hire people within the same role that you're looking to hire. So those are quite some of the things that a project needs to come up with. And I'm sure, of course, we can knock this down within 4 days. The other thing is being very precise. I like this because there's one key client that we had, and it's a small, medium enterprise, and they called us and they said, hey, we just started our company and we're looking to hire a receptionist, because of course, it's a very small office, but they need someone to be there to welcome visitors and to take care of some of the key needs within the organization. But you can hear that this person was looking for a receptionist. However, because they're really excited in the startup environment and they have a company and they're really proud about it, no pun intended, but they gave a job description looking for an administration director. This is really not a receptionist, and you may end up sending the wrong message to the candidates who are looking for the opportunity. You may end up getting applications of PA to CEOs, or something else that defines a director or a manager. Managers applying for a receptionist role with with an expectation that is a very big role. So like the human resource managers really look at that and be very precise with what they're looking for and say as is. That's really important. The other bit to do that in a timely way is select the right partner to receive the applications with instantly. Recruitment is not, it shouldn't be taken old school, where we are used to people putting up an ad and waiting till the end of the period, maybe 30 days, and then start looking at applications. It needs to be proactive, because if you put out an ad and a candidate feels that this ad really matches them, they apply with an expectation that they're going to be called. So with this project manager, they need to be real time with already shortlisting, putting people who meet the criteria in a folder and things like that. For us as Brighter Monday, we have an employer center which perfectly does that, because it's an end-to-end process from posting the job to hiring. You can actually manage the ads there by going through them, by filtering, and I'm going to take you through this in a bit. So the other part is shortlisting. Shortlist and create candidate pool now using the shortlist tools that we have within our application tracking system. So with all this, if you do this right, with the commitment that you're looking for this person, I'm sure you can knock it down within 4 working days. So allow me to go to the next step, and I would encourage you to pass down your questions. I'm going to address them at the end of this forum. And again, we have an offer where we can allow you to post a job for free on Brighter Monday and try out this employer application tracking system, which you call the center. Right? Cool. Let's go to the next stage. So, which resources can save you time and energy recruiting for hard-to-staff roles? So let me fall back to what we provide, because I'm sure there are an array of resources that you can use either within your organization or what you can get within our services. First of all, let me mention about case studies. Case studies and presentation, I think, are very important tools. These are tools which help an employer to actually sit down with the job seeker or the candidate who has applied for the job, probably in the second or the third layer of the interview, where you task them with a real-time issue, with a real-world issue, so that you can see what they're really telling you that they can do, that they can actually do it. Then they make you a presentation. Now, you remember, it's your time to analyze if they have the technical skills that you talked about, if they have the qualifications that you're looking for, within the 5 key responsible areas that you drew out, and that they can fill within your culture. So this is the time to just look at that, take your time, study them, how they're giving you this presentation, and it really helps you make the decision really fast. I'm sure you get someone who's doing a stunning presentation that, you not have second thoughts, or, they have to be interviewed by someone who's out of the country, you'll be confident that this is the right person to do the job. The other part is conducting a simulated tests. There are an array of tests that you can use. We went out as Brighter Monday and partnered with one of the major players globally. They're called AMCAT. AMCAT is a tool that you can use to test and simulate testing in various areas, including general aptitude tests, to skill-based tests, situation judgment analysis, to personality tests. So these are I will urge everyone to just go to our website, and down there at the footer, there's AMCAT link. You can view it really fast, and you can, if you want to be explained more about AMCAT, then of course we'll send a representative to explain it. But it's a good tool because it doesn't only test personality, it tests judgment, it tests language, and it has an array of modules. And of course, these modules have all the technical expertise. So if you're looking for a customer service person, if you're looking for a developer, there are tools that test on those skills. If you're looking for a finance person, the list is endless. If you're looking for an engineer, a doctor, we have modules, of course, that can really test the skills that you're actually looking for. Then the other bit is, what we can actually do to knock this out within 4 days is that you can use services that we have like Express Search. So Express Search is a combination of the resource that we have online and the skill sets that we have internally, of course, to identify the key talents. So you will find out as a human resource person, especially if you're looking for people with good skills, they're really hard to get. So most probably these people are not actively looking for opportunities, either because they have projects, they're very busy at it, they are happy where they are. And we note that Brighter Monday, we have a database of over 600,000 registered candidates. We browse our platform, and close to half of these people are passive job seekers. They are job seekers who are looking for opportunities, but now, yeah, thank you, I'm good where I am. So we find ways to attract them to your job role. If the job role is interesting enough and if they match the profile because the data is there, we reach out to these candidates. We interest them to the role, we share the JD. If they're interested, we have a quick interview with them to make sure that they are what you're looking for. And the third step is to present them to you. And guess the fourth step? You hire. Because it's that simple. Within 4 simple steps, using the Express Search, get the requirements right, pass them to Brighter Monday. We utilize the 3 steps, and of course, within 4 working days, we can provide you the skill, the challenge that you're looking for. Isn't that amazing? I hope so. The last one is headhunting, because we really understand that, especially for executive roles, this is why you're talking about CEO roles, finance director roles, and various roles in really high end, where you can also search internationally. It doesn't limit you only through your location or your destination or within the country. We have a solution through our very strong Pan-African brand that fits within the group, where we have over 10 million profiles emerging across Africa. And we utilize our brands in East Africa. So Brighter Monday is present in Kenya, Uganda, and Tanzania. We utilize our brands in West Africa. The leading job board in West Africa is called Joboman. It's part of the group. So we utilize our database. We have companies, internet companies across Africa, Pan-African, and we put together all this value together so that we can serve you better. You know, through the African Talent Company, of course, you can reach out, and I'm sure within a very short time, if you have the requirement right, we submit the requirements within 4 working days. Isn't that amazing? Let's go to the next stage, and I think this is the last slide. So, how do you attract candidates that are right for your company? You know, this is where now we talk about branding, because as I said earlier, it goes 2 ways. So, company branding is very important. This is where you need, as a human resource project manager, you need to sell your vision. You need to say who you are. You need to sell your culture to possible candidates. You need to be very clear with the clarity on the job title. You know, don't say this when you put something else. Just say it as it is. If possible, you can put in the salary. You know, and you can agree with me on this. If there's a marketing manager role, just put out there, and people are supposed to apply, compared to a marketing manager role for an appealing organization which is vibrant, which is growing really fast, and paying you 500,000 shillings. I'm sure more candidates will be interested in the second one than the first one. So be very clear with that. If your job seekers really want to grow, show them the opportunities to grow within the organization. Show them how, you know, the strategies that you put in place, not in detail, but show them that you are really focused, of course, to win in the market, just to attract them. Then the next thing is that you need to conduct your research by ensuring that the job offers is within the market rates. You know, again, you can't offer a job. You can't offer a senior role and then pay 15,000 shillings because you're miscommunicating or something like that. So you need to be very, very clear and do your research so that you attract the best. If they see the ad, people, especially in the competition, will really think about it because they're going probably to a better environment, probably to a better hirer, probably in an organization that they're going to be more happy. I'm sure these are ways to really attract candidates who are even working with people you're competing with against within the same field, things like that. And the other bit is you need to utilize our prominent services. So we have an array of products that help you stand out. So Brighter Monday is a platform which has over 1.2 million people visiting the platform every month. So there are lots of eyeballs there. And these are candidates who are searching the job market, looking for opportunities. We'll urge you, of course, to utilize some of these opportunities. By one, you can brand your ad by uploading your logo next to your job. It shows the seriousness of the job. It shows that it's a real authentic company. So putting your ad next to your job description is really encouraged. The other prominent features that you can utilize are services at the top of the list. If you're looking for an accountant, all these accounting roles are all stored in the category for accounting people. So this is an opportunity where your ads can stay or they can stick at the top of the list. So it gives it more prominence as job seekers browse various pages within that category. They can actually find your ad in the top, so it doesn't go down. So it receives more visibility. The other feature is featured jobs, where we can do the same from the homepage. You can find your ad there from the top jobs. You have it there on the search results page. And as job seekers browse, of course, it increases the visibility. So your job never goes unnoticed. And of course, with these features, of course, we've noticed that the job receives 3 times more applications than the job which is just standard. So these are features that you need to explore, features that you need to test, and features that help you with the right solutions to help you get the next hire within 4 working days. So I hope that was helpful, and you can share anything. You can email me directly through my email address if you're looking for an offer that I offered earlier at emmanuel@brightermonday.co.ke, and I'm going to personally look into that and follow up for you to get the offer. Right. Are there any questions? If there are not any questions, please drop me an email. We can keep this conversation going. Thank you so much for listening. I'm looking forward to engaging with you and knocking out and getting the candidate that you're looking for in the next 4 days. Thank you so much.